All right. Welcome to El Presidio de Santa Barbara State Historic Park. My name is Anthony Grumbine. I am the current president of the board for the Santa Barbara Trust for Historic Preservation. And we would like to welcome all of our guests to our chapel that we're in tonight, as well as Casa de la Guerra, the Mission Mills up in Santa Ynez, and really a number of other historic properties around town. And the other thing we do is we're advocates for historic preservation in our greater community. And we see that as being a great benefit to the future and really appreciating the past and informing our future. So for tonight, I would like to thank especially our platinum sponsors, Debbie and Roger Aceves, John and Tracy Dorden, Montecito Bank and Trust. And as well, I'd like to thank our gold sponsors, Channel Coast Corporation, Elin Spies and Haight, First Republic Bank, Harrison Design, Impulse Advanced Communications, the law firm of Riker, Fow, Pyle, and McRoy, and Tara Wood, all of which have been great and generous in helping make this event happen. So thank you all. As well, I would like to thank City TV for its, as you will see, great job setting up the chapel for you to be able to enjoy it virtually with amazing cameras, robotic cameras around, and you're going to get a really fantastic virtual tour. So I'm excited for that, as well as I'm very thankful for City TV for making this possible. As well, I wanted to call attention and celebrate our, which some of you will be enjoying right now, hopefully, the savory and sweet gift boxes and the local businesses that have helped make this possible, including the Cheese Shop, Insomnia Cookies, Oat Bakery, Stolman Vineyards, and 24 Blackbirds handmade artisan chocolates. So, and as I'm sure you all are finding out right now, they are wonderful, and it's great to support our local businesses. So please do. And then for this evening, we will have you will have performing for you our resident musician, Adam Phillips. Thank you, Adam. You've already heard a taste of what's to come. So, he does a fantastic job, and many of our events here are supported by him and his wonderful musicians. And then, as well, a Presidio Chapel tour by candlelight by our very own, the co-chair of the event, and as our very own board member, Jessica Harrow. So you will get a great tour as well from her. So looking forward to, hopefully you will enjoy the first virtual tour of El Presidio de Santa Barbara's chapel. So have a wonderful evening.
We're waiting for the event to start is a beautiful instrument that's actually a Chinese instrument called the xiao. The xiao is spelled Xiao, and they're gorgeous. They're an end-blown flute, and typically made out of bamboo, while this one is made out of maple. But the Chinese xiao is actually a version of this is the predecessor to the Japanese shakuhachi, which probably more people have heard of. But it's a gorgeous instrument, and the history of these go back thousands of years, and so it's a beautiful space to play this, of course, with the acoustics in here, which I know you all miss, and I look forward to get back to. But at least I get to hear it a little bit. And again, this was a Chinese xiao. The first song I'm going to sing today is the Cabello Más Sutil, and it is an art song written in the early 1900s by Fernando Obradors in Spain, and so it has a little bit of the Castilian accent in this one, using like the theta and other parts that you will recognize. And the rough translation is, of the hair most delicate that you have at your side, I would like to turn it into a braid to bring you to my side. And the second part is, I would like to be that earthen water jug or water jar in your house, so that whenever you go to drink, I get to kiss your lips. And so it's just a beautiful little song, again, by Fernando Oberoi, called the Cabello Más Sutil.
Del cabello más sutil que tienes en tu trenzado y de ferro una cadena para traerte a mi lado. Alcarraza en tu casa, chiquilla quisiera ser para besarte en la boca cuando fueras a beber. Del cabello más sutil que tienes en tu trenzado y de cerro una cadena para traerte a mi lado. Alcarraza en tu casa, chiquilla quisiera ser para besarte en la boca cuando fueras a beber.
So welcome to the Presidio Chapel. Originally constructed in 1787, the Presidio Chapel was the one space inside of the Presidio that was large enough to accommodate the entire population of the Presidio, which was composed of about 50 soldiers and their families. The original length of the Presidio Chapel was 58 feet, but within 10 years, the growing population led them to extend it to the 120 feet that it is today. Unfortunately, most of the chapel was destroyed in 1857 during an earthquake. So the chapel that we're in today is a reconstruction that was completed in 1985. They used extensive historical research and archaeological records to bring back this beautiful building, and art historian Norman Neuerberg was able to design an interior based on the inventory they found of all the items that were in the chapel and some receipts for the paint that they ordered to decorate it. So as part of that reconstruction, I wasn't alive then, dedicated this burial plaque to dedicate to the 51 individuals known to be buried underneath the chapel floor. They include names that are familiar to Santa Barbarans, such as Carrillo, Cabrillo, De la Guerra, Ortega, Cota, Lugo, and two more that I'd like to point out, who are Maria Rafaela Quintero, who was of African ancestry, and Antonio Miranda, who was Filipino. The records of their burial beneath the chapel show that the Black and Asian American communities have deep roots in Santa Barbara. So now I'll take you over to our St. Barbara painting. So since the chapel was essentially destroyed, most of the art in here is not original to the chapel, but this very special object is. It's an oil painting of St. Barbara, for whom the Presidio, the channel, and later the city were named. It was painted in 1785 by José de Alcibar. He was a Mexican painter who was regarded by his peers to be one of the greatest in his generation. His paintings are hung in the Museo Nacional de Arte in Mexico and the Prado in Spain. This painting was found in the basement of Our Lady of Sorrows Church, which was the parish church after the Presidio Chapel was destroyed. And they knew it was the original painting because it matched that inventory that they had of all the objects that were inside the chapel. So in 1986, the Santa Barbara Trust for Historic Preservation had the painting restored, and it now hangs here on permanent loan. I'll take you over to the altar now. So when they designed the chapel, the idea was to have a familiar place that would remind the residents of the parishes that they attended back in Mexico. But the luxury materials that were used to make the altars of the time weren't available to the residents of the Presidio. So they worked with what they had, and they got creative. The original altar was made of adobe brick and wood from the Los Padres forest. And then they used paint you see behind me, the blue and white to imitate marble. And then these rich golds and reds and greens were meant to evoke tapestries that were hung in churches at the time. They were able to order a few precious objects from the annual supply ships, and those included the santos that are in the sconces, including the Santo of St. Barbara. Since our event today is about stories of love, I'm going to share a few stories of people married in the chapel who still have relatives living in Santa Barbara today. When the soldiers were recruited to come up and found the Presidio, they purposely recruited soldiers who had families so they could bring them up in a family union. But there were a few single men among them. One of them was Hilario Jimenez, who married a young Chumash woman, Juana Maria, who was from the Sixtun village. We like to think that their relationship was evocative of the relationship between the Spanish and the Chumash village at the time. The Comandante here had worked out an agreement with Chief Yananali to contract Chumash labor to help build the Presidio. So Juana Maria was often visited by her brother, Lamberto, who was a skilled shoemaker who was hired to make shoes for the Presidio soldiers. One of her sons was a translator because he was fluent in both Chumash language and Spanish and was often consulted by the Presidio soldiers. Another story is that of Peggy Stewart, who is the daughter of one of the sailors from the infamous HMS Bounty. She arrived in Santa Barbara as the common-law wife of George Washington Ayers, who was a merchant who traded throughout the Pacific. Unfortunately, that was illegal according to Spanish law, so he was apprehended as a smuggler, which is how she ended up at the Santa Barbara Presidio. He was eventually sent away by the Spanish, but she remained in Santa Barbara. She was baptized, and Jose de la Guerra and Maria Antonia Carrillo became her godparents. She later married Segundia Olivera and lived happily ever after. The last story is one of a de la Guerra wedding, but probably not the wedding you're thinking of. Angustias de la Guerra left a testimonio that talked about what a marriage was like, or a marriage ceremony was like at the time. The bride and the groom and their godparents would kneel in the church and hold a candle. During Mass, they would receive communion and then a special nuptial blessing. Immediately after Mass, there would be a second blessing given outside the chapel. At her own wedding, it took place at dawn, and they followed a procession from the chapel to Casa de la Guerra that included a marching band and soldiers shooting celebratory shots. There was a huge tent that was erected to accommodate all of the guests in the courtyard, and they had a large feast on long tables, both outdoors and in, that lasted for 3 days. Oh, I should mention, Angustias married a man named Jimeno Casarin, who was an important Spanish official from Mexico. Angustias was known as an opponent to the U.S. conquest of the U.S. conquest of her homelands, and her testimonio was one of the main sources for the Bancroft's history of California. So now I'll give you back to Adam for some more love songs.
This next song is actually a Sephardic song from southeastern Spain, and it's called Los Biblilicos. It's a beautiful song. Biblilicos translates to the nightingale, and so this song, the language is actually in Ladino, which is a mix of Hebrew and Spanish. So you hear a little bit of the flavor of both languages in this song. As far as the translation goes, I am going to sing the Ladino verse followed by the English verse, so you'll be able to hear both. Again, this is Los Biblilicos, which is a Sephardic song.
Los bilbilicos cantan con suspiro de amor. Los bilbilicos cantan con suspiros de amor. Mi neshama y mi ventura está en tu poder. Mi neshama y mi ventura está en tu poder. soul and my fate are in your palm. La rosa en flores en el mes de mayo, mi neshama se escurece, sufriendo del amor, más presto ven paloma, más presto ven conmigo, más presto ven Florida, corre y sálvame. The rose blooms in the month of May. My soul and my fate suffer from love's pain. Come, but quickly come, more quickly come with me. More quickly come, beloved, and save me. Corre y sálvame.
This next tune will be a wee bit more familiar. It's been sung by everyone from Elvis Presley to, I think, UB40, if anyone even remembers UB40 anymore, and countless other people, and that's because it's such a great song. And you will recognize this, in case you don't know. This is an ukulele. Chances are you have one sitting in your closet that you haven't touched in a while. After this, it's time to pick it up and play it again. Don't mind me. All right, you'll know this song. Wise men say only fools rush in,
so it goes. Some things are meant to be. Take my hand, take my whole life too, for I can tell, falling in love with you, like a river flows surely to the sea, darling, so it goes. Some things are meant to be. Take my hand, take my whole life too, for I can tell, falling in love with you, for I can tell, falling in love with you.
This next song, and I haven't found any other sources on this song besides the actual book I found it in, but it's apparently a Mexican folk song. Like I said, I haven't been able to find it anyplace else, called Mi Sueño, which of course translates to my dream. And when the Anne and Tim at the Trust were talking about what songs I would be doing, I was like, is it okay if not all of them are happy love songs? And they're like, sure. So this is not a completely unhappy song. It's a very passionate love song. But this is from the angle of a guy who in some way or another, I'll leave it up to you, messed up royally and he wants her back. And so it's a beautiful song. Again, it's a Mexican folk song called Mi Sueño.
Sin tu amor moriré, sí, mujer, porque tú eres ilusión. Tú le das al corazón la aventura que soñé. No me mires así, porque voy a morir, pues no puedo vivir con desprecio de ti. Vuelve tú a morir, que es mi adoración, tener tu compasión, ángel de amor. Aquí vengo a pedir, implorar el perdón, por si fuese a morir. Adiós.
Thank you, Adam, for that amazing set. I can hear the applause from coming out of the homes around Santa Barbara County, and that was just beautiful. Thank you so much. My name is Ann Peterson. I'm the Executive Director of the Santa Barbara Trust for Historic Preservation, and I want to thank you all again for joining us tonight virtually, and especially to our sponsors for making this such a wonderful evening. I have a few thank yous here, including to our events committee, and they just did a wonderful job putting this together, along with staff support from Tim Aceves, and to our board president, Anthony Grumbine, who you all met earlier, and again to Adam Phillips of the Santa Barbara Folk Orchestra. We can't wait to have the Folk Orchestra join us back in person in the Presidio Chapel. And also thank you to City TV for live streaming the event tonight. And to all of our local businesses who participated with putting together these beautiful craft food boxes. Those of you who ordered boxes are supporting our local food artisans at an especially difficult time. And I'd like to give special recognition again to our platinum sponsors, Debbie and Roger Aceves, John and Tracy Dordan, and Montecito Bank and Trust. Thank you so much. And to each of our gold sponsors, Channel Coast Corporation, Aylin Spies and Haight, First Republic Bank, Harrison Design, Impulse Advanced Communications, the law firm of Riker, Fow, Pyle, and McRoy, and Tatara Wood. The Trust has many more wonderful projects on the horizon for all of you in pursuit of our mission to serve as stewards of the past and present of the Presidio neighborhood and to advocate for historic preservation countywide. The information about Presidio weddings that you heard tonight is part of a wonderful new project that's going to result in a permanent exhibit in the Presidio Chapel. And it's going to be a recreation of an early wedding in the chapel using sound and projection. And you just got the sneak preview of some of the stories tonight. As we continue to open up around our community, we hope that you'll take a peek inside of the Pickle Room at Jimmy's Oriental Gardens to see the new display about the Chung family and the history of their business, Jimmy's Oriental Gardens. And also we will be implementing some pretty significant landscape improvements at the 1896 Moulet House in the next couple of months. So you'll definitely see a visual difference there in the Presidio neighborhood. This has been a tough year for arts and culture organizations, and because you joined us here tonight, You're making the statement that you value us and that we matter. We are grateful for that support, and we hope that this evening, the spring equinox, is the beginning of better days ahead for all of us. If you enjoyed this evening and would like to offer more support, you can do so on the event website, www.sbthp.love, at the bottom in the box that says additional donation, and we appreciate all of your support. Thank you again, everyone, and good night from us, and I'm going to pass it back to Adam Phillips, who will play one more song for us.
Again, thank you all for joining us tonight. For me, I'm just so happy to be back in here in this beautiful space and this beautiful acoustic. It's been over a year since the folk orchestra's sold out Irish concerts were canceled. You all know why. It's why we're doing this virtually. But it is so nice to be back in this beautiful space. And just the fact that you clicked on and are listening tonight means that that you're supporting and want to support the trust in the Presidio. So thank you very much. This is a well-known and beautiful Italian song. I'm sure that you will be humming or singing along on the chorus. This is O Sole Mio, of course performed by so many different people, much like some of the other songs. And so I hope that ends your night or your gift basket, possibly paired with wine and a cocktail at home. I hope this helps you send you into an enjoyable rest of your evening. So, this is O Sole Mio.
Che bella cosa, una giornata al sole, un'aria serena dopo una tempesta, per l'aria fresca pare già una festa. Che bella cosa, una giornata al sole, mannato sole, più bello me, o sole mio, sta fronte a te. O sole mio, sta fronte a te, sta fronte a te. Che bella cosa, da fendeste toia, na lava na racanta e se ne vanta, e petramente torce spanne canta, luce nella strede